Hi, I'm Regina with Eco Like That, and today we're going to be making a very special Valentine's Day dinner for two. So we're going to start with some fillets. We're going to top them with sautéed mushrooms, and we'll finish them with a nice compound butter. We'll make some Yukon Gold mashed potatoes with some roasted garlic, and to finish off the meal we'll roast some asparagus, which is very simple and delicious. Your sweetheart is gonna feel like you went all out and you don't ever have to tell him that it was super simple. What you're gonna need for this meal is 2 fillets, about 6 to 8 ounces each, 1 8-ounce package of mushrooms, a stick of butter, some thyme, a little bit of food coloring for an extra special touch, some lemon, Yukon Gold, 2 pounds of Yukon Gold potatoes, a head of garlic, and a bunch of asparagus. First we're going to start with the roasted garlic because it takes about an hour, which it should be ready by the time your meal is ready. So the first thing we're going to do is take your garlic and take a knife, and we just want to cut the bottom of that garlic off. Make sure that you get each clove kind of open. And then we're going to place it on a piece of foil. We'll just drizzle a little bit of olive oil on top. And we just wrap that foil up. Place this in a 350-degree oven for about an hour. So the next thing we're gonna make is a compound butter, an herb compound butter. We're gonna do about a tablespoon of thyme. I've already got a little bit started. And this cool little, it's a chefin tool. So we just take and slide the herb right through. So we just take and slide this right through this hole, and it just strips the herbs right off. And then it's got this nifty little measuring portion down at the bottom. Once you have about a tablespoon, we're just gonna mix it right in here with the butter. About 4 tablespoons of butter. You can kind of eye that a little bit too. We'll give it a little pinch of salt, just for extra flavor. And then we're gonna give it a little bit of red food coloring so that your butter will have a nice color on your plate. I'm gonna mix all that up. Once it's all mixed up, I'm gonna take this heart-shaped mold. We're just gonna press some of that butter right into the bottom, creating these fun little designs. We're going to place that in the refrigerator for at least 15 minutes so they'll kind of harden up, and then once our steaks are ready we'll just pop them out and put them on top. It'll be a really pretty garnish. So now I'll season these steaks. You want to pull them out of the refrigerator maybe an hour or so before you're going to cook them, and you can just take and sprinkle some salt over top of them. That'll give them a nice flavor. Make sure and get both sides and even the sides here. So the next thing we're going to make are the Yukon Gold mashed potatoes. We want to get these started while we prepare some of the other things. So this is about 2 pounds of Yukon Gold mashed potatoes, and these will just give your mashed potatoes like a really nice creamy texture. If you use like russet potatoes, they're a little bit fluffier, but these will be nice and creamy. So we're just going to quarter these up. And I've got some water here. We're gonna add quite a bit of salt here, maybe about a tablespoon. You can just eye it. That'll give the potatoes a really nice flavor, so it just seasons them as they cook. We'll just go ahead and put these in the water. And then we'll put these on the stove and cook them for about 20 minutes or so, just until they're fork tender. So for the sauteed mushrooms, I have about an 8-ounce package, and to clean mushrooms, I take a damp paper towel and I just like to brush them off, brush any dirt. This way they don't soak up any moisture, and when you saute them, they'll get a nice golden, beautiful color. And then I just take and cut off that stem, so it's nice. I've already cleaned these, so we'll just do these last few. And now we'll just slice these. So now we're going to go ahead and make our sauteed mushrooms. So we'll take the mushrooms that we already prepared, about 2 tablespoons of butter, and about 1/4 cup of vermouth or wine or brandy, whatever you have on hand will work. So I've got my cast iron pan here, which I really love. It's a Lodge. It works great for things like this. We'll go ahead and add the 2 tablespoons of butter. Let that melt. So once your butter is melted, we're going to go ahead and add the mushrooms. And we just want to cook those until they start to sweat and the moisture starts to come out of them. So once those start to sweat, as you can see there's a lot of moisture in there, we'll add the wine or vermouth. So once you add the vermouth, we're just going to cook that down. So now we'll just season these with a little bit of salt. You can kind of just eye that. Give it a stir, and you can see that they're getting to be that nice golden color. I think those are ready to go. Now we'll prepare the asparagus to roast it. And what I like to do is just take the asparagus in your hand, and I like to snap the end off. You can do this individually, or you can maybe do a few and then you can test and see where to cut. And you'll usually get right about all that, that woody stem part off. And I've already rinsed that, so it's all clean and ready to go. We'll just take that and place it on a pan and drizzle it with some olive oil. Season it with a little bit of salt. And then I like to take a lemon and just zest it right over the top. This will give it a nice fresh flavor. It's simple and delicious. And this microplaner works really well to get just that lemon zest rather than that white pithy part that'll have kind of a bitter taste. And I just like to move it around so it combines, everything comes together. That's ready to go into an oven for about 15-20 minutes, probably about 15 minutes, and it'll have just a nice browned edges and it'll be really pretty and delicious. What we want to do now is go ahead and pepper our steaks. Make sure and get both sides. And then we've put a little bit of butter in here, and this pan is nice and hot. You can just use the pan that you sauteed the mushrooms in. We'll add these steaks. I want it to be a medium temperature so we can get a nice sear on the outside, and then it'll be nice and pink on the inside. So you'll want to sear these maybe about 5 minutes on each side, 5 to 7 minutes on each side, depending on how you like your steaks. So we'll go ahead and check these. Let's see what they look like. Nice sear on that one. Put those over. Be a good time also to put your asparagus in the oven. We'll bake it at 350 for about 15 minutes. And then go ahead and start to warm up some cream for your mashed potatoes. And you'll want about a cup of cream. So now to finish our Yukon Gold mashed potatoes, we've got the roasted garlic from the oven. We just go ahead and open that up, and as you can see, it's a nice golden color. And we can just take and I like to squeeze it from the base, and those cloves will just fall right out. This will give this a nice deep flavor. Then we'll add about a cube of a stick of butter. And I've warmed up 1 cup of cream, so we'll add that. And since we season the water, I'll wait to add a salt or anything. And then take a potato masher, whatever you have at home will work. And just go ahead and mash up those potatoes. It might seem a little bit watery at first, but they will kind of set a little bit. And continue to mash until everything is incorporated. And you get that consistency and texture that you like. Give it a nice stir, and then go ahead and taste it for seasoning. Maybe add a little bit of salt if you need it. And you can place this on a low stove top just to keep it warm until the rest of your meal is complete. But I think our asparagus is ready, and I think the steaks are ready, so we'll go ahead and put everything together and plate it up and show you the finished product. So for medium rare, you want to cook these steaks to about 145, which is right about where these are at. So here we have our dish, our filet with the sauteed mushrooms, the garlic mashed potatoes, and the asparagus. And here's our compound butter. We'll just pop this out of the mold and place it right on top of the steak for that extra special touch. And now you'll get to enjoy a nice romantic Valentine's Day dinner.